Hey everybody, Tommy Jordan here. It's August the 14th, 2021, Saturday morning. This will be about take 5 of this video. I think the first one was an hour and 15 minutes long. The second one was 30 minutes long. The third and fourth, I just fumbled my way through and quit. We'll talk about COVID, talk about Delta, talk about the commissioners meeting lately, talk about the mask mandates. We were asked as a board of commissioners to enact a mask mandate by one of our fellow commissioners. And as you know, I mean, the vote was no. In fact, the motion didn't get a second. And then a lot of mudslinging started. You don't care, you're insensitive, you want to watch people die, and that kind of galls me. A lot of my fellow commissioners have the common sense to just leave that meeting and keep their mouth shut, not say anything, and know that this crap will blow over. Yeah, I'm not really that type. It's not me. You want to call me out? Okay, you're going to hear you're going to hear what I have to say in return. Our Stanley County Board of Health came up with a mask policy. I asked about it as it was being done and put my nose in it and helped make a policy for that board that was, I thought, pretty good. Of all the people yelling and screaming about me not caring, funny, they didn't bother to get involved. Could have, but didn't. So I worked on that mask policy with the health director. I offered some tweaks to it. I offered some advice to make it simpler, some ways to make it usable for the Board of Health and the Health Department and the DSS Department in ways people could easily understand, adapt to, and a plan that would auto scale back as the transmissibility rate dropped. So it's a good plan for the Health Department. The idea of mandating that policy roll out to everyone in our entire county staff, I disagree with. I disagree with it wholeheartedly. And here's why I disagree with it. Because people think, and people that know better have said this shit publicly. So they're just doing it to stir the pot and make themselves look good. But people think we just don't care. I'm not going to speak for we, I'm going to speak for me. People think I just don't care. I don't think if you know anything I've done the last 2 years, you can say I don't care about COVID. I don't work frontline. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a nurse. But I think I can say with a fair amount of truth and confidence in my statement that I have worked harder supporting those departments that are fighting COVID than any other non-health department personnel in this damn county when it comes to getting them what they need. When they didn't have masks, we had people make them masks. We fired up teams to make masks for them. When they had no hand sanitizer, we brewed it at home with Everclear and made it for them with the help of a pharmacist, and did this for months. We've gone to get them supplies, gone to get them water, help get their tent set up, give them a place to work. I care a lot. So I'm just going to get that part out there. I do care. I cared enough to stay involved with the health director. I cared enough to work on the mask plan or the mask mandate for his department. And the idea with that, at the Board of Health meeting was, hey, here's a plan that we think will do the job necessary to implement a mask plan. And it's a great plan for the Board of Health because, again, these are frontline workers in the county who deal with patients and people coming in who may not be in the best of health or may not be in the best of financial situations. So they aren't the people that can afford masks or maybe don't have a choice but to come in even if they're immunocompromised. So we put a policy in place for that department. And with the idea that, hey, here's some policy guidelines that the other department heads in Stanley County management can take a look at. That's what that was for. If you choose to put this to work in your department, you can do that. You're a department head. You have that authority without me as a commissioner mandating you do it. I don't think grown-ass adults need to be taught to act like grown-ass adults. That's one of my problems. I'm a conservative Republican. I don't like big government. That really means I do not like making new rules for the sake of just telling people to do what they can do anyway, especially, and pay attention here, damn it, rules that are really not enforceable. If we wrote a county mask mandate, sounds great. Everybody that works in the Stanley County has to wear a mask. One of those policies was everybody in the Stanley County that works for Stanley County has to wear a mask. Even if you get out of your car at a gas station and go pump gas, or go inside a store and buy a honey bun, you better have a mask on, or you can get written up by HR. If one person complains and sees a county employee out at a gas station and says, "Oh my God, that guy, he works for the county. He's in the tax office, or he's in the SCUSA department, whatever it is. He's not got a mask on. I'm calling his boss." One time, you know what happens to that employee? We have a system in Stanley County called merit pay. It's if the county does good and we do okay money-wise, at the end of the year, our overworked, underpaid people get a thing called merit pay. Just for the record, we commissioners don't get merit pay, nor do I think that we should. This is for people that work in the county. So they get merit pay. And merit pay is a flat amount. I mean, it's you get it or you don't get it. It's not that you get this much and this guy gets this much. Nope. And it's around, I think it's about a $2,000 check. You get written up by HR because one person calls because they saw you standing at the handy mark by yourself around nobody else in your own damn vehicle, and you get written up, one infraction. You lose your merit pay for the year. Done. So, one busybody, nosy, bitchy civilian or citizen that just calls up and tries to get a county employee in trouble costs that employee $2,000 the first offense. So no, I was not a big fan of that policy. So we tweaked that policy a little bit. And that's one of the reasons I'm not a big fan of that policy being mandated. Because, again, it's unenforceable. We can write rules all day long. If you can't enforce the rule, why bother writing it? All you're going to do is piss off the people that work there. Some of them will just simply quit. And we already have a staffing problem statewide, nationwide, and countywide right now. So you really don't want to go pissing off the employees you have left, the ones that have still been working for the last 20 months, who've never gone home, who've never gotten free money for sitting at home. These guys have worked the entire last 2 years and done their damn job and are bitching because, well, they aren't bitching, some have, and they're justifiably right in my opinion. They're pissed off as hell that they have done the job that they've been required to do and watched everybody around them take off, go home, do nothing, not do shit, and get paid while they had to work, and they've got nothing for it. So I'm on the side of county employees when it comes to this particular argument. The last thing I want to do is write a policy that's going to take away the one opportunity that they have to get a small bonus that year, especially if it's the first infraction that happens. I mean, you get sent to the principal's office one time, cost you $2,000. Oh, hell no. Now, back to it being unenforceable. How are you going to enforce it? The only thing that you can do is call HR. I saw Tommy without a mask on. Now HR's got to call that guy in and talk to him, and all they can say is, "Well, that just cost you your merit pay. Have a good day." That's not the way we treat employees, or that's not the way we should treat employees. But not to mention, every one of these department heads now, they're department heads. I'll use SCUSA for example. We don't have a countywide mandate from us commissioners for SCUSA, but guess what? They get in that van every day under their department policy, and they disinfect that van. They disinfect all the surfaces. They mask up. If they're in the van by themselves with nobody else, they're allowed not to wear a mask. Seems common sense, just like if you're driving in your car. If they're driving the van to get gas in it, or they're driving the van somewhere that there's nobody in it, they're allowed to have no mask on, which is exactly how masks work, and that makes total sense. You shouldn't need to. But any passenger gets in that van, they got to mask up. Makes total sense. That's their policy already, has been their policy all along. They need the Board of Commissioners to tell them that? No. They just did it because that's what makes sense. On top of the departments, we have a county manager, Andy Lucas, who, man, I swear to God, before I got this job, I didn't know, I had no respect for the amount of stuff that man puts up with on a daily basis and can do. And he's a gifted, talented son of a gun. But County Manager Lucas already has the authority to work with the department head if he sees fit. So if for some reason there's a department head that is totally oblivious to the fact that 80% of his employees just got sick that day and called out with COVID, then the county manager already has the ability to work with that, or to call that department head in and go, hey, John, bro, we got chat. I need you to do this, this, and this, and implement this policy for your staff. I need you to make them wear a mask. I need you to change the disinfection policy to so-and-so. He can do that. He doesn't need another level of government over his head micromanaging what he does. He's already been doing it all year. So have the department heads. So it's ignorant, and I mean that in the textbook definitions, as you don't know what you're talking about when you get mad and say, you guys are not going to implement a policy, as if that means everybody just gets to walk around and do what the hell they want. It's never meant that. They already have policies. They've had them all along. They're going to continue to have them. And those department heads who do this for a living, who work in these departments, who know their particular state guidelines way better than we commissioners do, and Andy, who knows them way better than most all of us do, they are doing what they need to do to follow CDC and DHHS and state guidelines. And if a department head wants to enact stricter policy, they can do that. They can work with Andy and they can do that. But I do not need to try to implement a policy for Andy Lucas that also fits the SCUSA driver, that also fits the EMT, that also fits a firefighter, and also fits a sheriff's deputy, because that's just a bullshit, stupid ass idea that doesn't work. They're not all the same. They don't all do the same job. They don't all interact with the public the same way. There's no need to drop a mandate down that blanket covers everyone and treats them the same. I don't know how much more common sense I can explain it. We don't need to do it now because it's already being done, for one. Okay, that's it. I'm done on the mask mandates. That was half my time that I planned to spend talking. Now, don't get me wrong. People start falling over dead in the street and in the county left and right. I guess we'll have to revisit it. But that goes to my next segment that I want to talk about. People and their COVID facts. I don't know. Maybe the average Joe is just not as smart as I give them credit for. No, let me back up. I know the average Joe is not as smart as I give them credit for because I read social media. And not to mention, okay, so I, of course, read a lot of local people's walls and see comments, but I also read the news sites. And I see our local people's comments on those sites because that's how Facebook works. So you see this kind of stuff on social media, on Facebook, and I see the feedback these folks made. And the thing that really got me riled up the other day was Pineville Atrium's hospital, 50 employees, 50 medical staff, and 9 patients all tested positive for COVID the same day. And people just 828 comments on that post at the time, and people spitting out facts that are such utter bullshit that show they have no comprehension of what's going on around them, and they just can't. They don't get it. I mean, doctors and scientists have been talking about COVID for a year and a half, and some people still don't get the basic fundamentals of viral pathology. You don't need to be a doctor to get this. It's not hard stuff, people. So some of the comments were, well, oh my God, I thought they were all vaccinated. If they're vaccinated, how do they get it? It must be a hoax. Dumb shit like that makes me wish it was legal to just walk up and slap the stupid right out of people. Just, pah! Nope, you're still dumb. Hold on. Pah! Do it again until they just get smart. At some point, you should just be able to smack people for being that ignorant. God, I'm trying to remember now some of the comments where it's been 3 days since I read it, so I'm less angered now at it. Um, just things along the lines of the virus is a hoax. It's all misinformation by the CDC. Blah 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 blah. So let me break down the science Barney style for some people that just don't seem to want to get it. Is COVID real? Yes. There's enough dead people that should prove that to you. I don't know how you can possibly actually doubt that. You know, back last year, places were leasing refrigerated trucks. Bodies were leasing refrigerated trucks to store the dead bodies in because funeral homes were getting overwhelmed. There was literally refrigerated trucks that normally carry your tomatoes and your lettuce and your frozen foods to Walmart. A lot of the public doesn't know this, but it was real. I was briefed on it as part of my work with the DHA, ADHS, and the county. Yeah, a refrigerated truck. And don't put a name on the side of it because you don't want to say dead people storage. So there were dead bodies piled in trucks because we couldn't dispose of them fast enough. So yes, for God's sake, don't be a dumbass. COVID's real. Delta is real. Delta is a variant of COVID. Every virus mutates. I do not know why this confuses the shit out of people. Well, I do. It confuses people because they think that facts don't change. That's why it confuses people. They don't understand that facts can change. Some of you out there don't get it. Facts are facts. If it's true today, it's true tomorrow. No. That works with gravity. Gravity doesn't change today, it doesn't change tomorrow. Terminal velocity, 9.8 meters per second squared. That doesn't change. It's still the same today as it was yesterday, as it was last year. Viruses change every day. So the reactions to those viruses change every day. Some of the math should be common sense to people, but it's not. COVID doesn't affect kids. Kids are fine. What kind of dumbass are you? COVID didn't affect kids last year in numbers worth mentioning because all the kids were home in small social groups like the brother and sister or the brother and sister and the best friend and the people in that very small area where those three kids homeschooled for the whole year because they weren't allowed to go to their school building, and the restaurants the mom and dad would take them to were closed, and the stores were closed, and everybody had to wear masks everywhere. So kids weren't exposed to anything last year, not really. That makes a lot of sense if you just stop and think about it. Why weren't kids getting sick? Well, because kids were around one or two people. So if mom or dad got sick, there's a 50-50 the kids got sick. But if mom or dad didn't get sick, and they're the only ones that come home to the kids that are at home all day doing virtual study, then there's no one to expose the kids to for the kids to get sick. Duh. So kids didn't get sick. Now, also on the science side, the original COVID strain was a little bit less, didn't bond well with kids. I'll say it that way. All right. Things in our bodies change as we get older. That's why some viruses affect older people more than younger people, and middle-aged people more than teenagers. So our bodies change a little bit through our life cycle. And the original COVID strain didn't react well with kids. It just didn't stick. If they got it, it just didn't really catch on to them as bad. So that's true too. Now we have Delta. Delta's a variant, and that's what viruses do. They mutate constantly. Everything in life, every organism mutates. Some mutations are good, some mutations are bad. Blue-eyed people are a genetic mutation. They're a weaker mutation. Blue-eyed people have a harder time seeing in bright sunlight. That's a genetic mutation. It's not something that was planned. It just, the first one was born that way and bloop, and then next thing you know, the other one was born and the mutation stuck. It's got its benefits. Blue-eyed people have a much better night vision than dark-eyed people like me. Their eyes process light a little bit differently. Viruses do the same thing. The virus has mutated a bunch of times, but the weak mutations the mutations that suck don't get participation trophies. They die because this virus will change a little bit and this mutation goes out there and it's too weak to stick to people as well. It doesn't live as long on surfaces. It doesn't hang out in the air as good. Well, so it just peters away and dies because it can't catch hold. Another mutation comes up that changes the RNA structure and makes the virus so it bonds better to receptors in young people. That variant is stronger. It can attack kids better than the old variant can. Maybe not with the same virility that attacks adults, but it can attack kids better than it could before. So that's important to know. This virus, let's just say it's 10% more likely to hit a child. That's still bad. Okay? So yes, kids get COVID. It does happen. They do tend to be more resilient than the 25 to 50 age range. You know how we know that? Because we see how many people are dying from it. Kids, this many die. Old people, this many die. The 25 to 50 range, this many people die. What does that tell you? It tells you, well, the 25 to 50 age range is my age range. We're the workforce that is predominantly out there traveling around, seeing a lot of people, going a lot more places, doing a lot more things than the older and younger generation. So we're exposed more, which is why we tend to die more. It's not that our bodies necessarily suck. Our bodies are weaker, though there may be some science in that. I don't actually know. But the fact is we're exposed more. We see more. My mom is 73. She does not go out and work like I do in a hotel environment this week and get exposed to 500 new people like I did. Make sense? So the virus mutates, and our social situations right now are mutating. Places have opened back up, so we're being exposed more. Schools are opening back up. Kids are getting exposed more. Numbers are climbing. So the virus is more resilient. It is a little bit stronger. It's a better virus as far as the metric goes for being a good virus. It's a better one. And we're opening things up and getting more exposed. So wearing a mask makes great sense. Do I think you should wear a mask? I absolutely do. Am I going to tell you that you have to? No, that's not my job. And why is it not my job? Well, I'm not going to pass a buck here and be like, well, it's just not my responsibility. But I will say this logically. We have the WHO, we have the CDC. The CDC's got 10,000 plus employees. I think 168 of them are like admins. You know what? Let's just assume 5,000 of them are medical personnel. That's a good low number. Let's assume half. So if only half of them are medical personnel, then there's 5,000 doctors, nurses, researchers, and biologists, and pathologists, and virologists, and epidemiologists working on this for the last 18 to 20 months. So they are telling the people what they think the people should do, what you should do. And WHO is telling you what you should do. And the White House is telling you what you should do. And so you got Dunno Joe and Orange Man both saying different things. You've got the state telling you what to do. You've got the DHS at the state level telling you what to do. You've got the health department in Stanley County telling you what to do. If you're not going to listen to any of those people, why the hell are you going to listen to me? Nowhere out there is going to be a person that says, you know, the CDC said it, the WHO said it, but I didn't believe it till Tommy Jordan told me. Now that Tommy Jordan told me what I'm supposed to do, I'm good now. I'm going to listen because Tommy said it. Said no one ever. Ever. That argument, you need to take a leadership role. I did. We have a health director, and I support him, and you should listen to him. That is my leadership role. I don't have the authority to take a leadership role in law enforcement either. You know, you should be sure that people obey the laws better, Commissioner. I did. We support a sheriff, and he has a department of people that do that. That's what he does. So he's your guy. That's your guy. You want people to obey laws, you go to law enforcement, dude. You want people to get good information about their health, There's a department that literally has the word in the name, health department. That's a department where you call and ask about health stuff. In case you didn't know, you have a question about COVID, call our health department. If you have a question about where you should or shouldn't wear a mask, call the health department. If you have a question about any damn thing you want to know related to COVID or your health, that involves this county, call the health department. That's what they do. They've been breathing this all day for 2 years. They got it down pat. That's my leadership. I'm not telling you what to do like a 6-year-old and treat you like a child. I'm telling you to be a grown-ass adult and call the other grown-ass adults that do this for a living and ask them what they got to say. And then if you're going to listen to them, fantastic. But if you're not going to listen to them, you're sure as shit not going to listen to me. I don't understand. I dearly do not get. People are looking for someone to blame. Commissioners, whatever. They're looking for people to blame because they're freaked out, terrified, paranoid, exhausted mentally, exhausted emotionally from the last year of what they've been going through. And the sad truth is that for the last 3 or 4 years, well, back up. The truth is that science has been way overly politicized. And that's a sad, sad fact. And it's been happening for 3 or 4 years now in earnest. I mean, it's always happened to an extent, sure, but it's been happening for a couple years now in earnest. And everything that people have been looking into deeply for the last couple years is completely divided. I mean, we have a new census. You can't believe the census. 2 different sides of the government talking about the same problem. Well, y'all made it. It's great. It's not great. Can't believe the vote. We won. No, you didn't. Yes, we did. No, you didn't. We have a lawsuit. It failed. We have another lawsuit. It failed. We have a lawsuit. It's not going anywhere. People don't know what to believe. There's no source. People don't trust our government. You got the CDC, WHO, Fauci, Biden, Cohen, shithead Cooper, tons of people to get your sources about COVID from, and they're all arguing with each other nonstop. Not to mention the friggin' talking heads that just throw their shit in there and toss in their opinion. God knows. People are upset, so they want to blame somebody. They want those that want mask mandates. They want to see a board like ours take that responsibility to make them feel better, make them feel like something's happening. Oh, thank God the commissioner saved us. They put a mask policy in place. Well, hallelujah. I mean, COVID's just going to go away now because I said to. I can't even make the pizza man show up on time. Sure as hell can't make the virus go away. And the other side is the opposite side of that is just as passionate and angry. My emails this last week have been, thank you so much for standing up for the rights of our county employees. And another local guy who loves to just send stupid ass emails a few times a year. He's a doctor. God forbid that he must know every damn thing. I think in the last email yesterday we got called imbeciles, illiterate, idiotic maybe. I mean just one behind the other. So it doesn't matter how you vote. It doesn't matter how you stand. People hate you on both sides for it. COVID's real. Delta is real. Put a mask on. Get the vaccine. That's my advice. But am I going to mandate you do that? No. You're grown ass adults. You're grown people, right? Do what you need to do. You do not need me telling you how to act like an adult, or you shouldn't. And if you do need me to tell you to act like an adult, then you're not the type that's going to listen anyway. I think we can agree on that. Where are we at? I'm back at a 30-minute long video. Damn. I want to try to be sure I didn't forget something else that I really wanted to talk about before finish this video and then be done with it. And there was one more thing I just remembered a second ago, and it's gone. You just gotta hang out with me a second. I'm gonna sit here and think. I'm gonna pause this for one moment. I remembered it. Vaccines. Do I think people should get a vaccine? Yes. I mean, there is an argument on both sides of this. So if there's a scale here, this is a bad example. I can't hold my hands that way. If there's a scale here, and this is yes and this is no, do I think you should get a vaccine? I weigh towards yes. I don't weigh down here, but I weigh towards yes. Am I vaccinated? No. Don't freak out. Don't turn off your set. I mean, I'm not vaccinated. I don't have the vaccine yet. When COVID first came out, and it was its original, it's the flu, blah, 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 whatever. I'm a really healthy guy. I'm blessed with really good genetics. I don't get sick. I'm immune to lots of things. Drugs don't faze me very well. I'm just very blessed. Thank you, Mom, and thank you, Dad, for whatever it was you passed down, because I got really good genetics and I have a really good immune response. So I don't get sick. So my thinking was, I'm that really, really uber healthy guy that's got no pre-existing conditions, no allergies to anything, zero problems, lungs are fine, heart's fine. I just got physical. Everything across the board was 10 out of 10. Well, great. So I'm like, if I get it, there's a really damn good chance that I'm going to be okay. I'm going to have about a 7-day man cold, maybe a 10-day man cold. My wife's going to hate me, but I'll be all right. So do I want a vaccine that was brand new and hadn't been, thoroughly tested yet, that may or may not have side effects in 5 years? Or do I want to get COVID? That's probably not going to have, probably going to be like the flu in terms of symptoms. This is my thinking in early 2020. Again, facts change. Well, let's fast forward to 2021. Facts have changed. The virus that's predominantly out there, remind me, I'll tell you about Delta variant, because some people are too stupid to understand how they know it's a Delta variant, but there is some good science for that. It's very simple. Anyway, so fast forward to 2021. Delta is the predominant strain right now. It is more virulent. And all you got to do is read the news or read the statistics. Either one is fine. The DHS gives out stats every week as they get them, and the news cycle follows a day or so behind. And there tends to be enough sources from both sides to supplement what I'm going to say. Not to mention, again, choose your facts. Don't read the dumb shit your friends post on Facebook and call that as facts. If so, you deserve what you get. Grandma Suzanne said that COVID was a hoax. So, well, it's a hoax. Well, if that's your source, I feel sorry for you. My personal facts that I choose to look at were places like India, Britain, Ireland, UK, England, where the Delta variant hit first. That's where it came from. It started over there, grabbed hold, and it kind of came here toward the end. So they've been dealing with it for a month or month and a half, 2 months longer than we have. So trends have developed. Things like 25 to 40-year-olds do die from it with no pre-existing conditions. Oh, well, see, now Tommy done learned something. Now Tommy done found out that, you think you healthy? Sucker. That's not good. Maybe I should consider getting a vaccine. People that have had the vaccine and people have had COVID and the vaccine are still getting Delta. But if they get it, they survive it for the most part. And they also experience it much less severely than the non-vaccinated folks do. So again, that's how vaccine works. Please calm down. It's no different than every other vaccine we have out there. I'll use like the flu vaccine, for example. If you get a flu vaccine, can you get the flu? Yes, absolutely. Chances are, when you get that flu, you get the symptoms way less than if you had not got the flu vaccine. So it helps mitigate the symptoms. Makes sense. It means, hey, you just get less sick. You get this sick instead of this sick. That's fine. COVID vaccine works the same way. If you get COVID, you get this sick. You don't get ventilated if you're sick. All right, cool. Good to know. So now that all this new science is coming out and all these new stats are coming out and the facts are changing, I have decided, you know what? Now I probably am going to get the vaccine. Because, and here's the argument folks have. I'm not taking that unproven vaccine. It's going to cause blah, blah, blah in 10 years down the road. And it could. It absolutely could. There could be something. Now, keep in mind, this is the most researched, the most studied disease in human history. In the history of our entire planet, there's been more doctors in more countries working on solutions for this vaccine than anything we have ever done in the history of man. So I feel like, for the most part, they're doing their best job they can to give us really good information. Not that some of it won't be wrong, not that there won't be side effects they couldn't have foreseen, because they couldn't test it in every single individual before it hit the market. There are going to be some outliers. That's going to happen. Doesn't matter what it is. Tylenol had that. You know, for God's sake, there was a lawsuit against baby powder for the same kind of shit like 50 years later. You know, that it happens. Okay, nobody's perfect. So yes, there's that chance that I'll wind up with there's an infinitesimally small chance, I believe. My science tells me that there's a small chance that I'll wind up with some, I don't know, predilection towards heart palpitations when I'm 80 because I got this vaccine. Who knows? We don't know yet. And that's why I was holding out for. I was holding out for this vaccine to get a little more perfected, maybe a little more tweaked. As they learn, they change things. As they learn more things, they change more things. I was holding out for the self-correct or the corrected perfect vaccine. Now, the other hand, the other side of the argument is there are plenty of diseases or conditions that we come down with that have effects later in life. COVID could be one of them. COVID could be one of those things. I didn't get the vaccine. I chose not to, and I got COVID, and I got over it. Great, fantastic. I survived it. But then, let's say 25 years down the road when I'm 70 years old, I wind up and we find out that I have COPD and breathing problems because of some massive scar tissue that developed, or polyps on my lungs that developed when I had COVID back in 2021. You know, that's the kind of shit that we're not going to know either. Everything you do is going to be a gamble at this point. Okay? Everything. But none of these idiots out there quoting anti-vax, it doesn't work, it's a hoax. Find those people and just go smack the shit out of them. I mean, just do me a favor. Just, you're one of them. And just be done with it. Because I'm so tired of hearing the stupid shit from people that seem to just swear to God they know better than everybody else. Do your research. Use your own damn brain, but stop quoting tinfoil hat shit off of Lindell. I mean, that is not a medical source. That guy's a freaking moron. He shouldn't be your go-to source for how you choose to live your life. Do I think you should be vaccinated? Sure. Do I think that I should have a position in life where I require you to? No. Do I think you should mask up? Yes. Do I think that I should be allowed to require you to do so? No. I don't. I don't think that I should have that authority. There you go. I mean, that's it. Do I think that, you know, and and it leads to the next, okay, so here's the next evolution of that argument. It's for the public health, so you should require people to mask up for their safety. Okay. Well, you know what kills a lot more people than COVID? Diabetes and cancer. Can't do much. Well, so I'm gonna say, so I should make a policy then. We Board of Commissioners should make a policy that if you're a county employee, you can't smoke ever, on or off the duty. I mean, on or off the job. You can't smoke. You can't do dip. You can't vape. You can't do smoking tobacco. Never. You can't do any of that stuff. On shift or off shift. Nope, can't do it. That's not healthy. Causes cancer. Also, no county employee can better ever be seen eating a Snickers bar, a honey bun, a donut, drinking a Coca-Cola. All these things have sugar and they contribute to diabetes and obesity and weight gain. And you better not be at a fast food joint because your ass will get fired so fast you won't know what hit you, because God knows McDonald's ain't good for you. I say that as I know I ate McDonald's about 4 times in the last week because I'm on the road. So you didn't give me that kind of authority when you voted to elect me in. If you want me to be responsible for your public health, then I guess I'm responsible for all your public health. No sugary foods, no, nothing that's going to contribute to you being fat. No soft drinks. It's just going to be water and Gatorade. I better never see you at a restaurant. Ordering a Coke. Mm-mm. Do you see where this goes if you just follow it a little bit further? It's kind of stupid. Adults should not need a board of county commissioners to tell them what's right about how to just get through their life and live. Now, a lot of boards of commissions have done it. Oh, we wrote a mask policy. Hot damn. What did that do? Nothing. It did nothing. It's another piece of... They wrote it on a piece of paper, and no one's enforcing it. That's what some of you guys don't get. They wrote a policy. You know why they wrote a policy? They wrote a policy to make people shut up. That's it. That's why they wrote a policy. They have no intention of enforcing it. They will enforce it if someone makes them enforce it. Like if you do something so egregious that and call public attention to it that they're going to have to stand behind the policy, they'll do that. If you intentionally try and flaunt it and make an example of them to prove that they're not enforcing it, they'll have to enforce it. But your average Joe in one of these counties that doesn't wear his mask to work, nobody gives a shit. Nobody's chasing that guy down. He's not being called into HR being fired tomorrow. He's not. Because other people in other counties or other commissioners in other counties like to scribble on a piece of paper because their people are too stupid to know that piece of paper means anything, does not mean I want to be that kind of commissioner. I want to be straight up with you. I want to be honest with you. And I'm going to try my dangest to never do something that just gives you a placebo. That is bullshit. That is the problem in politics now. People do placebo bullshit. We're going to write a resolution saying that everyone needs to be nice. Sign it. What did that do? Nothing. Well, the commissioner said you've got to be nice. Okay, what are you going to do about it? I don't know, but you got to do it. There's no enforcing that. There's no enforcing a mask mandate. What do you think we're going to do? Call the sheriff and arrest someone for not wearing a mask? That's never going to happen. You think we're going to start firing employees because they were caught one time not wearing a mask? No. What would happen is, I don't know, Mr. Randy, you weren't wearing a mask today. Yep. You've already taken my merit pay, so what else you going to do? I'm going to put a note in your file so you didn't have a mask on? Okay. Mr. Randy, I'm calling you in my office again. You didn't have a mask on again today. A person saw you at the fast stop. You didn't have a mask on. Yep. You're going to write a note, put it in his file. What do you think we're going to do? Fire him? Oh, hell no. You know how hard it is to find people right now? We're glad to have people coming to work because we're dealing with an actual pandemic. And people are calling out sick, or people getting quarantined, and we have to deal with the logistical headaches of managing the county admin when people go down with COVID. So we can't afford to be throwing folks out. I'm not firing somebody that's I should say I ain't fired. I don't have the authority to fire anybody any dang way. But the county manager's not going to do that. If we had a policy, it would be probably the second most unenforced thing in the county. It would just be, look, guys, please, for God's sake, if anybody asks, tell them that I chewed you out. Okay? All right. Now, please, put your mask on when people can see you. Yes, sir. That's how it would be enforced. I don't know what else to tell you guys. The commissioners do care. I care a lot. I know Commissioner Shudo cares, and I'm not calling out Peter on this one. Peter and I are two different ends of the vaccine spectrum, but Peter does care. Peter cares a lot about people, and this is important to him. And I'm glad someone like him is there. I'm glad he's out there working as hard as he is, because some people are just never going to listen. And so if you just go out there and you keep posting and you keep saying it, 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 eventually you get through to somebody, and that's good. There's nothing wrong with that. That works for people like me, who didn't get the vaccine in the beginning, who still don't have it to this day. And if I didn't have to be out of town next week again, I would maybe go get it Monday. But I can't afford to be down in case I come up with a bad reaction to the vaccine, because it means I can't work and my team can't work, and now 3 guys lose money and the job doesn't get done. So I'm gonna have to wait till I'm off these projects, which might be 10 more days or 14 more days or 2 weeks, 3 weeks before I can have time where I can take a potential 2 or 3 days off. So people like me hear enough facts, research enough, have it thrown at us constantly enough that maybe our opinions change. Mine has evolved, in the last year. And there are many people like that. So I'm glad people like Peter are out there. Just because he and I disagreed on one particular thing, that doesn't mean anything. We commissioners disagree on shit all the time. All the time. Sometimes vehemently so. Y'all don't get to see it in the general public, but sometimes, boy, it's, whoo, tell you what, So I'm glad he's out there doing what he's doing. I don't disagree with anything he wants to have done. I just disagree with the fact that we shouldn't mandate people do it. I don't think that we can legislate people into being responsible. I don't. So, do I think you should mask up? Yes. Am I going to bust your chops if you don't? No. Do I think you should get the vaccine? Sure. Do I think you should? Am I going to give you the sign of the cross and back away slowly if you don't? And I find out? No. Just act like an adult. That's all I can tell you. Be a damn adult. Be responsible for yourself, your family, and the people that you're around. I work with myself in a very small team, and when I'm physically working, I'm in places, communications closet, telecom closets, data closets, MDFs, where no one ever is. I'm not around people except to walk through the hallway to get from my truck to the room that I have to go work in. So I'm not, as much as I deal with the public, I don't physically sit in the same space as them. So no, I don't wear a mask at work, ever. I go down to the hotel in the morning, and that lady yells, "Put a mask on!" Because I'm trying to get a cup of coffee, and I put the damn mask on, and I go get a cup of coffee, and as I walk past the trash can, I throw the mask off, and I go outside and drink my coffee, because I don't want to be stuck in a room wearing a mask. So I just go outside where I don't have to. You can help people feel more comfortable, and you can help curb the spread of this without having to be pissed off about it all the time, and without being a dick. You can do that. Just do that. I mean, with the exception of one lady in a hotel, who I'm sure it was her job to get on people for not wearing a mask when they walked down to the brunch section. That was probably the job she's been yelled at for a couple of times for not being not harping on it enough. So she let me know that day, and that's great. But with the exception of that, I haven't got a single comment from someone that I've dealt with face to face, and I deal with 500 to 600 people a week. No one's given me a hard time. I haven't given anyone a hard time. If you give me a hard time, I'm gonna tell you to go pound sand. I'm not putting one on. I'm not. I'll just stay away from folks instead. I like that idea better. All right. If I drove a school bus, that wouldn't be an option. I would need to put one on. If I worked in a hospital setting, that's not an option. I have to put one on. So use some sense. Don't be an asshole, and help people get through this pandemic. Okay? I repeated myself a bunch. Hell, I stuttered, so I said everything twice the first time, and then I repeated myself again. So Thank you for hanging out if you did. Hope y'all have a great weekend. That's it. Have a good day, y'all.